Welcome to But Is It JoJo Stupid? And I'm your host, Will. Okay, so I want to talk to you about something today. We're back. Or I'm back, rather. I say we, like there's more than one person here. I guess you're back. More importantly, get ready for the first part of a three-part thing on the Predator Extended Universe. Yeah, we're doing that. I know what you're thinking. Predator Extended Universe, is that even a thing? There's shit tons of comics? Shit tons of comics. So today we're going to talk about what is probably my favorite. There's a couple other good ones, but for the most part, we're going to be focusing on this one. This is called Predator Race War, and it's exactly what it sounds like. So, Predator Race War, it's a comic that ran from November of 1992 to technically October of 1993, but there was a big gap in between. So here's the thing. Predator Race War had 2 issues. And then it's a 5 issue total, including the initial issue. So there's the first 2 issues came out February and then March. And while the first one came out in 3 different little chunks in the Dark Horse Present series of issues 67 to 69, which, November. So November, December, January, then February was the first actual issue of Predator Race War. So the prequel chapters just kind of set up where we were going. Also, worth mentioning, in Dark Horse Presents 67 to 69, there was this duo by Joe Duffy and Maya Sakamoto that was like incredibly anime-esque. 2 parts of which revolved around I guess a mercenary. It's not fully explained, but it's a guy doing some old wet work. Like doing a bodyguard thing and then teaching some kids to swim. There's also an antagonist with like dark hair that seems to be every single time that he needs an antagonist, it's the same guy. I don't fucking know. The third one was completely different, but the first 2 seem to be following this guy, whose name I can't totally remember, but I don't think that's all that important. It's pretty cool though. I mean, clearly they didn't go too far, but that was fun. All right. Anyway, so what is Predator Race for? Well, some people got together and have used evidence of predators being around to sort of try to hunt one down. There was a predator that's been going around killing people, as is the nature of the predator. You know what? I probably should take it off the top. I'm assuming you know what Predator is in the franchise, but hey, let's just throw a gamble out there and say you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Predator is a franchise of movies, also comic books, and I think a couple of novels and spin-offs that are ultimately surrounding the concept of the Yautja. And the Yautja are like aliens that love to hunt, and they have like a whole society about like hunting dangerous, noble prey that'll fuck you up if you try to fight them. Because, that's what they're all about. They're big hunter dudes. So the first Predator movie is in 1987, and the series kicked off there. So it was essentially just team of like guys go into the jungle to do a routine military job, and then a monster starts killing them, and then it turns out the monster is an alien, and that his goal was to fight them because they seem to be such strong and powerful prey. And that's what the Predators, or rather the Yautja, are all about. The comics fleshed out that they have a planet, what their system is like. They have like a hierarchy that's like clan leader to like blooded and like a whole bunch of shit like that. It's all based on hunting. Now, depending on how much we're considering is canon versus not canon, there's like the Yautja created the xenomorphs from the Alien series, or they're just fighting the xenomorphs, or as of this date in the year in which I am living, there is the held belief that the xenomorphs are part of a whole other thing about an alien about a cyborg experimenting with some alien things he found on a planet, which has to do with like a biologic weapon. But hey, we're not getting into all that. The point is, the Yautja are hunters, and what they do is they fight big, tough, scary things, because they're like, if I kill that shit, I must be a big dick G. Okay? So, this is a comic in which there are people hunting for the Yautja. Now, they're hunting for it for various reasons, So it's kind of weird. So there's a group of like 6 people, right? Or 5 technically. The sixth one comes in after the fact. So there's 5 people. There's a guy who they never give his name. The one of the characters, Tiger, refers to him as Blondie. I assume because he has blonde hair, and he seems to be like a suit military CIA guy. The way he talks is really stiff and shit. Okay, so there's him. Then there's Fal, a Native American tracker, and Tiger, who used to be a cop until what I'm like 90% sure was her lover got murdered. Her lover was a woman named Kate. And then you had Percy, who was a soldier and a crazy person. And then Wanda, who's a scientist who found and studies some Yautja technology. So they're all in it for different reasons. Tiger's girlfriend got murdered by the Yautja. Percy was like doing some mercenary work in what looked to be vaguely Middle Eastern places, like the Gulf War, he said. And as he shot like a rocket launcher, he saw the shadow of the Yautja because they're invisible. That's what they do. They have like all types of fancy technology. Fal once was hunting with a friend and then found his friend later strung up and decapitated, as the Yautja are wont to do. That's what they do when they kill things. They're trophy collectors as hunters. So they hunt for sport, purely, from my understanding. So it killed the guy and cut off his head and removed the spine along with the skull. They keep them as trophies. Anyway, so yeah. And Wanda seems to be interested in studying their technology and seeing what it can do. Right. So they're all hunting this Yautja because fuck you. Their own reasons. And then they find that there's a mercenary dude named Cross. That seems to be the only way they know his name. Is like has had experience and accidentally killed the Yautja. So it turns out that he was working for 2 drug lords that are like competing against each other, and then he bombed one of their cars because he was like, haha, I'll get the money and I'll avoid the dangers. And then he blows up the guy's car, and wouldn't you know it, the Yautja was there trying to kill him because also this is a gimmick that all of them happen to do. I I love it. I really do. This is a thing they can do, but they have like besides the fact that they have like arm-mounted laser cannons and giant fancy spears and shuriken and all types of wild technology shit, and becoming invisible, they have this thing. It's called vocal mimicry by all the people who are fans of Predator and the franchise. What it is they have a system on in their mask or on their arm glove. I'm not entirely sure. They wear suits of armor where they record the sounds of something and then play it back. So it kind of feels like most of the time they do it, it implies that they're understanding what people are saying and that they do it so that they can express themselves. So in the Predator movie from 1987 with Arnold Schwarzenegger, there's like a part where Arnold Schwarzenegger realizes that the Predator or the Yautja hunts with infrared vision, so he covers himself in mud so he can't be seen, and then he fights the Yautja using like traps and hand-to-hand combat. And when he beats the shit out of it and tricks it into getting fucked up by a trap, like the thing. So earlier, when they saw it for the first time, well, all his friends are dead, but when he and his troops saw it, Dutch, as it were, just goes, "What the fuck are you?" And then when the Yautja is beaten up and like dying, he plays that sound clip. It says, "What the fuck are you?" And it's like, did you do that on purpose? Did you understand what I was saying? Okay, fine. Okay, so like the drug dealer says something to the effect of like, "We're a dying breed," and like the Yautja, when it's on the car ready to kill the drug dealer and scalp and like remove his skull, actually plays it back, "We're a dying breed," and I'm like, this is so fucking dumb. So there's a Yautja that's been going around killing people, and it seems to be that it is hunting hunters. Yeah? Because it opens with a serial killer going like, "You don't know how many people I've killed. I've killed thousands, blah, 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 blah." And then they go like, "Yeah, okay, cool, whatever." And then the team calls in a psychiatrist and goes like, "Hey, based on that videotape, do you think he's legit?" And they go, "No, no, not at all. He didn't commit all those strange murders with the decapitations. I think he's maybe done this many, he seems like a coward. And they go like, okay. And it cuts to the Yautja, like, sneaking up on the serial murderer in jail. And then he goes like, no, please stop. And he fucking murders him, decapitates him. And everyone comes in to see him in his cell because they hear all the noise. His body is strung up. No skull, no neck. Eat shit. And everyone goes, what the fuck? And then the news says, hey, that serial killer who said he killed in those ways got murdered exactly like that. And then the sort of prison personnel go, man, someone's got a sick sense of humor. Or the murder was actually in here. They're like, don't be ridiculous. So the team convinces, they try to convince Cross to join them. So what ends up happening is Cross goes out on a job to hunt what I assume, based on the way he's talking, is a child rapist. Like he's a pedophile, because like he says, look at him over there hanging with that little girl. Like, yeah, heard the freak likes to film videotapes. I'm like, yeah, well, catch this on film. And then like he shoots him, only to have the Yautja like jump down invisibly and like try to get Cross, because clearly it's hunting after him. Because, he's a mercenary. He's super big, super strong, super scary. What bet? This Yautja seems to be hunting hunters, so, And the way the Cross describes it, when people go like, so, do you think it was human? He's like, nah, this shit ain't human. Like, so what is he doing? He's like, he's hunting hunters. They go like, what? And then like a tiger, she goes, my Kate wasn't a hunter. And they go like, she was a different kind of hunter. And it shows that before Kate died, she was like a vigilante. So she was expecting to get to go to places where women have been sexually assaulted, to then pummel and like probably kill and or arrest the guys who were doing it. So in her being a vigilante, a crime hunter, I guess you could look at it as, the Yautja came down and fucking eviscerated her. I was like, yes, look at how strong she is. This will bring me great honor to my Yautja clan. And the Native American tracker, well, it's kind of in the name, right? He's a great tracker. He's very good at hunting. So I imagine either his friend or family member, never made particularly clear, just made clear that Fowl found someone close to him decapitated and strung up, was probably really, really fucking good at hunting. So, yeah. Percy, Warzone, so. And Wanda, she's here on her own just to study their tech. So they're planning on killing it using Cross's help, and then would successfully steal all of its stuff and investigate it. Now, mind you, it's not going too well. The Yautja was at jail, is hiding out in a jail, he's going around killing people randomly. There's a guy who was going to rape someone in the bathroom, and then in the shower, and then the Yautja shows up, and then just fucking slices his head off, and the guy who was going to get raped doesn't. He just goes, ah, while the Yautja, like, leaves. There's a black guy who's going to get beaten up by some, like, Aryan Brotherhood racists, and then before they can do that, the Yautja shows up and fucking mangles them, because, Yautja hunting hunters. So there's that. Right, okay. So when we start focusing on the prison, you start seeing more what it's about. So it's called Predator Race War, right? You know why? Because there's a race war brewing at the prison. There's like real tension between the minority gangs. So there's Banner, who's the leader of the Aryan Brotherhood. There's Nyati, who's leader of whatever African American prison gang it's supposed to be. I'm not entirely sure. And then there's Ortega, who's leader of the Hispanic gang. So there's a part where after the Yautja's been murdering the shit out of people, the warden pulls the three in, goes, Banner, Nyati, Ortega, I thought I was one of your boys. You better cut this shit out. And then Banner goes like, man, you think I would have felt bad? And he drops it. He's an Aryan Brotherhood guy, so he just says the N-word and coon and stuff like that. So, you think I would have felt bad? Like he was killing some coons? And Nyati goes, we had heard it was, we thought it was your men until it started killing some of yours too. And Ortega just goes, man, we're always stuck in the middle. This is bullshit. So what ends up happening is Cross decides to join the team because he almost got murdered by a Yautja. And he's like, well, maybe if I get in on this, then we'll be able to successfully kill the monster and I could stop worrying about this shit. So he ends up getting sent to the jail and gets tattoos and stuff to sort of make it seem like he is a white supremacist. So that way he can immediately integrate himself with the white supremacist gang when he gets there. So he does that. Also, Tiger has to pretend to be his wife because they need someone to be able to talk between him and the people, the team on the outside. So that works. She hates it. I mean, why wouldn't she? I mean, she really doesn't want to have to be seen making out with him and shit. So using some context from the outside, once he gets into jail, and ingratiating himself with the Aryan Brotherhood, Cross successfully gets a meeting with the leader of the Black Gang, Nyati. And when they have a conversation, like, Nyati at first goes like, hey, some of my men said you can be trusted. He's like, please, I need to talk to you. He's like, well, I see that tattoo. I only work with my own kind. So he had a fake tattoo done. Which is like, when the Aryan Brotherhood guy, like, sees him, he goes like, hey, I've never seen that tattoo before. He's like, you don't know about White Knight? He's like, what's White Knight? And he was like, you ask around, then come back to me. Like, making himself cooler than the leader of the Aryan Brotherhood, I guess. So then the guy, like, pays the cop off. The cop calls a number and then gets information from, like, a judge or something. Comes back and is like, so, White Knight is supposed to be the night where we get all the minorities together and just fucking murder them. And it's like, oh, is that what we're doing? And it's like, yep, that's what we're doing. He goes, oh, okay. Wow, that's crazy, man. I've never heard about this. He's like, well, it's only for the crazy big higher ups. Which, again, just this guy using all of his really bizarre esoteric knowledge. So yeah, Nyati sees the tattoo and goes like, forget it, I see your tattoo. I only work with my own kind. And I have this written down because this is fucking amazing. So this is how Cross responds. Look, Nyati, this is a war. A race war. And I am your own kind. As long as that monster's around here, the human race is the only race that counts. I learned a long time ago, no warrior is stronger than the war. Until that thing goes down, we're all the same color. Maybe just different shades. And then, Nyati goes like, alright, I'll hear you out. When do you plan to get this down? He's like, as soon as I can. He's like, okay. So how am I gonna know? He goes like, I'm gonna get up in no man's land. And after that, if you're with me, you get up too. So I guess they fucking describe how their plan is like going to the green room, which is the gas room. So what the thinking is, the Predator has a mask, right? And it probably filters air and stuff. If they can get the mask off and put it in the room where they do the gas chamber, like death, then they'll be able to gas him, get him weak enough so that they can, like, take it down. So they're getting gas masks from the outside. And the no man's land thing is like, they're in the lunchroom and there's like a whole bunch of guards standing. And he just goes and stands in front of the guards. And then they, like the guards are going to beat him up or whatever. And then they go, he goes like, Nyati gets up and goes over to him. And then they do a thing from the movie Predator, like the 1987 first movie that kicked off this franchise. So there's a scene at the beginning where Arnold Schwarzenegger, as Duke, meets his friend Dylan, and they do this really bizarre hyper masculine thing where they like grab each other's hands in a handshake, but are also like almost doing an arm wrestling in the air. We're like squeezing and flexing each other's arms. It's like, Dylan, you son of a bitch. And then they do that. And then like, I can't remember what exactly it was. Like, what, they got you pushing too many pencils? You look weak. And it's like, what the fuck is this? And you know what happens? You know what happens in Predator Race War? You know what fucking happens? That same exact thing. And on top of that, it's in front of all the prison guards. And on top of that, the Yautja is like hiding on an air vent, invisible, watching them. And on top of that, when they grab each other's arms, they just go, for the race.
The race war starts now!
Alright? Did you listen to me when I said that? That is so fucking cheesy and hyper dumb. I just, ugh. So they together, with that display of masculine like unity and fighting for the human race. They just I don't know. They get everything together. They go get the gas masks and everything, and they sort of fake a riot to get the Yautja to pop out, and they like pour water on it using the fucking using the sprinkler system so that it is visible, and then they chase it into the gas chamber room. They fight it off a bit. Ortega's like watching the door versus Nyati and Banner and Cross are gonna fight it inside of the room. And also, like, the Yautja's just like murdering the shit out of people. They're able to get its mask off and then get it into the room. And so they're fine. They're wearing gas masks, so they're okay. Yautja passes out. So they're like, all right, we did it. But he did succeed in killing quite a few people. Many people, including Nati. So, yeah. Banner, like, had a tooth thing installed, so he had like, a little microphone connection. He pulls it, rips it out, and goes, hey, so, I got him. And then Ortega pulls him up, and he goes like, hey, how's Nati? He's like, that guy's dead. It's like, oh, shit. And then, so here's the thing about the Yautja. When one of them dies, others come to collect his body and get his tech, in the event that he didn't self-destruct. So the Yautja have what seems to be a very tiny neutrino bomb in their glove thing, and they push a bunch of codes and then get ready to just blow up so that no one can capture them and disgrace their body or whatever. Or, steal their tech, I guess. But yeah, so since this guy was unconscious, that all their Yautja showed up and were like, yeah, he's out cold. I imagine there's like a biometric sensor in their glove thing that's just sending out signals. From what I understand of the Predator Extended Universe, they have a whole bunch of things set up that's like, something happens to me and I'm incapacitated. You guys will get the signal and just roll up and, take care of things. So as Ortega is picking up Cross and going, like, let's go, a Yautja just opens the door and is standing there and is like, that was good. And they just go, oh no. And meanwhile, outside the team is like, man, where the fuck is Cross? Is he going to tell us anything about this? And it's like, well, I don't know, man. I haven't gotten any message. Oh shit, it's going to hell in there. We gotta go. You can't let that fucking thing escape. And then it cuts to like the outside of their little battle van, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle battle van, and a Yautja is like waiting in a tree, invisible, probably just getting ready to jump him and murder the shit out of him. And that's the end of Predator Race War. No happy ending, no nothing. The Yautja win. Eat my dick. Race war. Okay, I want you to understand this. Race war. Couple of things I want to say about the comic besides the printing thing. So remember how I said it technically ended in October? Well, what happened is the one shot came out. The first 3 issues came out, and then they had a huge thing where they were switching not authors, not writers, but rather the inkers and the designers and like the art people. And apparently that took long enough between April to October. That's half a year without the conclusion of Race War. Mind you, other Predator comics were running concurrently at the time, but that's still amazing. Oh boy, Predator Race War, how I love you so. I know that story was very short, but you know what? That's not really what we're going to be focused on. We're going to be focused on how fucking nutters this is. Let's work under the assumption that the Yautja are just fine. That they make perfect sense, that we're not even going to begin to ask what the fuck they're about. Even if we accept the concept of the Yautja, the predators, if you will, we also have to be willing take into the idea that all of these people's lives were touched by that one same Yautja. So there's an understanding that there's multiple running around the planet at any given moment, because there was another one that got blown up, and there's the Predator from Predator 1, and then the Predator from Predator 2. Also, worth mentioning, the second movie was entirely based off of, or loosely, because, boy, they did not take it too seriously, the comic Predator Concrete Jungle, which is just Predator in the city doing shit. So, yeah. Anyway, okay, so, the Yautja was somehow, A, in Africa, because that's where Cross says he ran into it, B, in the Middle East, okay, because it was during the Gulf War. That's for Perry. And then C, it was also in some random city. I want to say Chicago. I can't really remember if Tiger immediately described what hers was, but she was a police officer because she was a detective that got informed that her girlfriend was decapitated. Also, the serial killer was a killer known for living in very, very rural areas. Like, he murdered on a trail. And also, he was, that's okay. So let's say the Adirondacks, or anywhere, honestly, the Poconos, he were in New York. I don't fucking know. The point is, he was all of those places? Are couldn't there have been other ones? I mean, another one, two of them just popped up because I really doubt it was the one buddy that showed up. There's other things in the like the Predator Extended Universe, the show. They just kind of hang out sometimes. So I don't know. It's hard for me to look. All right, if I'm accepting the aliens to begin with, okay, and that's not super good for me, but I'll try. I'll do it for you, Predator Race War. If I'm to accept the aliens as a concept, right, as a big hierarchy based on honor system that are like all about noble hunters and shit, why would he like murder someone who probably didn't kill people directly, like the drug lord? I mean, I don't understand his definition of hunter per se, because the mercenary team that Cross was friends with, they all got butchered. They've directly killed people, right? It didn't kill Percy, but Percy saw it, so I'm gonna guess that there was a bunch of people there that the Predator was hunting, or maybe it was keeping an eye on him. I don't know. Why didn't it kill him if it killed all those other people? I understand what it chooses to hunt and what it chooses to not hunt. I don't understand what its concept of hunter is, because they mention sometimes that the Yautja has killed pedophiles. Okay, pedophiles, sexually assault children, predators, sexual predators. I super get that. Get that. I'm not. Is it that he also killed the kids? Does it have nothing to do with murder? Is it a weird justice thing? Does the predator believe by killing bad guys it's doing the right thing and it's noble therefore? Would it What was its concept? I guess is what I'm asking. Cuz if I'm supposed to accept high noble very brave creature, then now the question becomes what is noble and isn't noble to it, or and then the other one showed up because, he fucked up and got himself wrecked by some humans. Which, from my understanding, the Yautja really like hunting humans because, humans are so resourceful and smart and really good at killing. Fun fact, the movie Predators that came out in the 2010s also hinges on the concept of murderers and other such ne'er-do-wells being hunted by the Yautja. Except instead of being in a jail and under the premise of a brewing race war, it's more they captured a bunch of people and then brought them to what would essentially be a predator or Yautja hunting reserve, and then they slowly killed them all, or I guess not all, but enough. So yeah. So in this one he's on Earth, and I'll admit for most of the predator things they're on Earth. There's a predator that's in the Civil War. That the North and the South, the Confederacy and the Union just get together to fight the Yautja. And you know what? Fine. Fuck you. Fuck you. But this one, okay, we're focusing on this one, and this one's in a jail. So, you're telling me that the Yautja did all of those things. Okay. It's not fucking feasible if it has a hunting ground in the city, but hey, they're aliens. Fuck it. Maybe he can go anywhere. Okay. Now, secondary note. The Yautja hunts murderers. Maybe? I don't know. It hunts hunters, right? Okay, what is your definition of hunter, I guess, is my question now. But last one. Does it understand human speech? Because it also uses the voice vocoder, or I say vocoder. It uses its vocal mimicry thing to say quotes at people. And I'm not entirely sure if does that make sense to you? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's because I'm too hung up on the fucking I don't. It's so cheesy and goofy and weird, and then you add the fact that the Yautja is there to like hunt and shit, and it's like I can't bother with you. But you know what? If you're accepting the Yautja, then I guess it's a lot less dumb to begin with. But you have to already be comfortable with alien hunter that is noble and hybrid. So yeah. Alrighty. Well, this was pretty quick, but that's because there's a 4 or 5 issue technically series, so not too much to talk about. The story's pretty linear. The next thing I'm gonna talk about is not gonna be so linear. Again, following in the vein of Predator, I'm going to talk about Predator Concrete Jungle, my introduction to the Predator Extended Universe, and a video game, not the comic. There is a video game about Predator Concrete Jungle that has nothing to do with the comic Predator Concrete Jungle, on which the second movie in 1990 was based off of. And I guess now, how does this rank on a scale of as sensible as black dress shoes to JoJo stupid? I feel that once you accept the outro as a concept, it can't get too crazy. I'm still a little upset with the ambiguity of the hunting thing, and I don't get how it found a little hidey hole in the jail to just hang out. But I mean, it's invisible, so I guess no one really notices it, even if it should be making tons of fucking noise because it's a giant 8 foot tall, 400 pound freak monstrosity that's like scuttling around on tiny cat feet. Like, that doesn't make any sense, but fuck it, you know? I mean, they're stealthy. That's part of the thing. They're hunters. Hunters are stealthy. So, you know. Alright. I'm gonna give it Hawaiian shirt. Yeah, Hawaiian shirt. That's a 2 if you've been keeping track. Because if you can accept the Yautja, then it's a lot less dumb than I would want it to be. But some of the cheesy lines don't really sound like how people talk, and I kind of like it because it reminds me of like really corny. It reminds me of the first Predator movie actually, where Jesse the Body Ventura gets attacked, and I can't remember what exactly it is, but I just remember him going. They're going like, "You've been hurt," and he goes, "I don't have the time to bleed," before continuing to try to attack the Yautja. So not too crazy, but a little out there as far as regular fiction goes. Alrighty, thank you very much for listening to But Is It JoJo Stupid? And, well, you know, get excited for Concrete Jungle.